Welcome to another episode of the One Life Podcast, diving deeper into the weekend sermon. Pastor Jared, today we are one podcast that currently meets in two locations.
That's right. First time us doing this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Tell us where you're at and what you're doing over there.
So I'm in Dallas, Texas for the Strategic Launch Network. It's a church planning organization, and their whole focus is planting churches in very secularized cities in America. And honestly, I've been trying to get my foot in the door with SLN for a long time, heard so many amazing things. So last year, had a chance to sit down at dinner with them when they were in Phoenix, and then got the invite. So it's a very small conference. It's really more like just hearing the vision, mission, meeting some of the church planners. And you know, me, I'm always looking for future partners. If we take seriously the Great Commission, and we're going to go to local Jerusalem, then Judea and Samaria and the ends of the earth, well, then we have to be involved in church planning here in America. And the statistics will tell you that by far, churches that reach the most people for Jesus, it's not even close, it is church plants. They go into communities, they have seen more decisions for Jesus, and young families, and the data is so revealing. And so for us, I'm like, man, let's see what this would look like. Don't know many people here, but excited to start some conversations and to see what One Life's involvement will be in the future.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I'm doing for the next couple of days, just hanging out with church planners, talking ministry, and I'm gonna learn a lot too. So I'm excited.
Cool. And there's no greater city besides Phoenix than Dallas, right? I mean, Dallas is a great place to be. Have you gone to Pluckers yet?
I've not. I just literally got in. I'm staying in Rockwall, so there's it's this huge lake all around it. So it is really pretty. The parts that I've seen. So what is Pluckers?
Pluckers is the greatest wing bar you'll ever go to in your life. You get sweet tea in a mason jar. Make sure you get holy macaroni as the appetizer. And then
I'm writing this down.
If you send me I'm a VIP club member since 2012, so you can send me the receipt, and I get quite a bit of points. So that'd be great.
All right, done. Pluckers.
Monster boneless wings basket, double toss, spicy ranch, and Gold Rush. It'll change your life.
What is happening?
Yeah.
All right.
It's what the psalmist said when he said, "Taste and see that it's good."
Yeah. Speaking of that, that's what we asked people to do this week in Life Group. Of don't discuss like the millennium and all your the different views, but just sit around a table, have great food, and just enjoy each other's company and enjoy the presence of God. So hey, that was a nice tie-in. Way to go.
I did like what you said, that it was considered holy, right, to do that, and you were like, I was never taught that in the Baptist.
Well, because Solomon says in Ecclesiastes, it's good food, it's good wine, and it's good people. 7 times he says that's holy.
Yeah,
so
it's really good.
Yeah, and then the Baptist people, they're really excited about the idea of doing a potluck again. So I was able to come full circle on my childhood this weekend in the message.
That's great. All right, so let's dive deeper into it a little bit.
Okay.
I know the money moment, right, is the invitation to the marriage supper of the Lamb. So kind of talk a little bit about preparing for this sermon, like what all went into that, and then the moment at the end of, hey, the good news is here, the gospel is here. Here's the invitation to the marriage supper of the Lamb. Well,
it all clicked for me when you understand the Passover, the Lord's Supper, that this is how God forms and shapes his people around tables and around meals. And then when you connect Revelation 19 to Psalm 23, that in the presence of our enemies, God is still preparing a table and a meal for us. So, and then I use the Eugene Peterson quote to make the connection. That when you understand that you are invited to this, and here's what's amazing, the marriage supper of the Lamb, it happens before Satan is bound, right? Like before there's this major blow, which I think is powerful, that it's this moment of God saying, hey, I got you. I got you. And it's beautiful imagery to, again, go back to the Passover, go back to the Lord's Supper, even in the midst of the beasts all around us, right? All the demonic oppression. It's this moment of God saying, hey, I've got you. You're mine. You're invited. You don't have to bring anything. I have, I dress you in a priestly garment, right? It's such beautiful imagery of what that means. So, because it's so powerful, the idea is, and I think it's verse 6, verse 8, blessed are those who are invited into the marriage supper of the Lamb. And so then I just laid it out like, this is your invitation. You're invited. And then the application really is, all right, church, like people not just in this room right now are invited, but you're in your school on purpose to invite. You're in your neighborhood on purpose, to invite people into the marriage supper of the Lamb. You're at your place of work, your coworkers, and it changes everything about living life on mission when you know, like, hey, it's our responsibility to invite people into this, not just mine on a stage on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So that's how the connection all came together.
Why do you think it's difficult for church people to invite? Like, what's the tension there, and what plays into that as far as like it seems like a very simple mission, right? But why? Like, what gets in the way from us doing that?
The only answer that I can give you that makes sense is there's a couple. It's fear, right? People are afraid, and it is this line of, man, if I invite them, it might change the dynamic, and especially I would say at work, probably more than any place else. Of if they reject me, and people are afraid of rejection, so that obviously is the cloud over the whole thing. But it does change the dynamic of relationships if they find out, oh no, like they're an atheist, they might be offended. I think it's a fear. It's fear and of rejection. But secondly, I just feel like we make up stories in our own mind for people. And, we say this in staff meetings all the time, is that we say no for people and think, although they would never come. Well, how do you know that? Yeah. You don't know that until you actually invite. And so in our mind, we've told ourselves a lie that, they would never come. So I'm not even going to risk, that relationship being forever changed. So that's one reason. I don't think it's this way at One Life. I mean, you guys can speak into this better than I can, because I obviously cannot be objective about what I'm about to say. But some people don't invite their friends to church or invite them in because they're afraid of what the pastor might say on Sunday, right? Like, man, I don't know if I trust bringing my friend. The music might not be good. The preaching might be weird. And so that's why we work so hard as a staff. I work so hard, even in the Revelation series, knowing that this stuff is going to be really heavy, of not to freak people out and say, no, you can still invite your friends to come to church. And I would say it this way: if you're not going to make the big gospel ask, well, the easiest thing is to invite them to church and let us do it for you.
Yeah.
But you do have a responsibility. I mean, I hope that was my goal. Like, you're in your place on purpose. Like, we're created for 2024. Mm-hmm. We're not shrinking back. We're going forward. We're pushing back the darkness, and take that seriously. Blessed are those who are invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb. So they're invited, and we have a responsibility to invite other people. But that's my two big things I would say why people don't. What do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'd say the fear of rejection for sure is the biggest one. And then I think that overall, like, as growing up in a church where it was a little bit more difficult to invite like your friends that were like either students or in college, like does my church fit what they would like? And I think that here at One Life, like, I have full confidence of like whether you're a student, a young adult, young married, even an older person, right? Like we have something for you where it's a place truly where everyone is welcome. We don't just keep that as a slogan, but like we emphasize that. I think that should enable people to be like, all right, I'm gonna go and invite. I think one of the things I think we do well, and this is going to kind of transition us into At the Movies talk, but providing key opportunities besides just a normal weekend. Like, every weekend is a special weekend. The gospel is presented every weekend. We just talked about that in our growth track, right? We're emphasizing like every weekend a salvation moment will occur. but for different things, like besides Easter and Christmas, like at the movies, or even a random 4th of July where we emphasize at the movies again, right? Or specific opportunities and what I would call on-ramps where we emphasize today is an easy day to invite somebody. So talk a little bit about that from a missional standpoint of like the emphasis on at the movies, why it's so critical, and then why it's an easy thing to invite people to.
So I didn't come up with this, but I heard another pastor say this, and it kind of piggybacks on what you just mentioned of in building a church and in growing a church. Really, what you're trying to do is you're trying to stack dominoes, right? So you press it, and we're into the next thing, and then the next one falls, the next one falls. So for us, at the movies is very strategic for us, and we place it in November because hey, school is in. You're going to be in town most likely. We don't do it in the summer because we just realized that 45% of our church is not here in the summer. Yeah. They're watching online, they're doing whatever. So it's a strategic domino stack for us that you're in town, and you're probably even going to have some family come into town for Thanksgiving. And what a cool thing to invite your family to come experience something like this. Yeah. But also we recognize that the week before and after Thanksgiving are usually lower attended. And so doing at the movies, we actually redeem those 2 weekends. And the whole month of November is our largest month as a church because we strategically place it. And then right after, so what are we doing? Right now we're advertising during fall break. We're advertising at the movies, at the movies, at the movies, at the movies. And then during at the movies, what are we going to be advertising? Christmas, 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 Christmas. And then what are we going to be advertising during Christmas? New Year, New Year, New Year, New Year. Yeah. Relationship series. We're always just stacking dominoes, right, giving people a reason to come back. So that is the science. I mean, this is more like super nerdy pastor talk, but it is the science of why we strategically place at the movies when we place it. And I know this sounds crazy, I'm not stacking at the movies. I'm sorry, I'm thinking during at the movies, I'm thinking January. How do we get these people to get back in the room come January? Yeah. And because that is, new year, new habits, we probably should get back in church. And hey, that church that did that really cool thing, we really like them. We should go back. So that's a lot of why we do what we do when we do it. Yeah.
So as far as what's coming up, obviously we have this weekend. Give us a little bit before at the movies. We have a Vision Sunday, kind of a layout of where we're going as a church. And again, we've been saying the last couple of weeks, all good things. Anytime you say, hey, we need to talk as a church, everyone's like, uh-oh, what do we have going on?
Yeah, no, that's the people are like, are you going anywhere? I'm like, no, it's all good. I have more energy, more excitement of where we're headed. But we have to take a moment, because of at the movies, I have to take a moment and just have the conversation with our church. So cat's out of the bag. We are making some changes to our bylaws and our constitution. And I have to give people, they have to know what that is before we ask them to vote on it. They're really good changes. And just the high level stuff, I'll talk more about it this weekend, is we are now a multi-site church, and our bylaws are not conducive to that. And so as we continue to spread ourselves out and, future church in Superior and wherever God would lead us, we need bylaws that will allow us to make decisions fast. And so that's some of the changes that will happen. The second thing I would say is, in our bylaws, we're going to strengthen our stance on human sexuality, covenant marriage. I think those are really important in the days in which we live, to make sure we have that solidified. So those are the two, I would say, three big changes to the bylaws that I have to tell the church about. And then I think we have to just celebrate like crazy what God is doing around here. How much money we've been able to give away this last year is astounding. The amount of first-time guests that we've had, the decisions to follow Jesus, the baptisms. I just think that we have to celebrate that really, really well. But then also have to challenge our people of as we continue to reach more and more people for Jesus, there are some serious needs that are before us. And I'm going to invite them invite them into that. So the Bible says, if people don't, it's the old, King James, where there is no vision, the people perish. I actually like how Eugene Peterson words it. He says, if people can't see where they're going, they'll stumble all over themselves. And so I think that's true for your personal life. You need a clear vision for your personal life, for your marriage. But as a church, we for sure need to have clear vision. Where are we going? And just to inform our people of what's happening, where we are, and then celebrate like crazy God's goodness to us here at One Life. Yeah,
Awesome.
that's this weekend, and then challenge our people of like, hey, so let's come full circle on this. Of invite like crazy. The best time of the entire year to invite somebody to come to church with you is at the movies.
Yeah.
So invite. Be praying right now, God, who can I invite? Who probably would say no, in my mind would say no. And then just be bold and take the step and just say, our church is doing a really cool thing. And I think you would love it. And I think your kids would love it too. Come check it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we're going to land this weekend for Vision Weekend at One Life.
Awesome. Yeah. We're excited about it. And At the Movies is going to be exciting. And just like you said, we're gearing up for Christmas. The weather's cooling off a little bit. Is it weather? What's weather like in Dallas right now?
It being the same as it is there. I think it was like 82 today.
All right.
So probably overdressed for it a little bit. I thought it'd be cooler than what it was, but
that's good.
Here we are.
Well, we're excited about not only you coming back from your trip, but then also this weekend and everything else that's happening here at One Life. A little shorter podcast today as we almost concluded our Revelation series. We'll be back on the Revelation topic for one more episode in December.
In December, yeah, that's right.
It's going to be a ton of fun. Well, remember, the church is not a building we sit in. It's a movement we get to be a part of to help reach one more life for Jesus.
Let's go.